Another shot is coming raw and unbounded. The whiskey's always talking and the beer's overflowing. Another shot is gonna hit you with a mind overloaded. The bar is always open with no inhibitions. Another shot will leave your sensories twitching. Just remember, everything we say is just our opinion. But then again, it might be the alcohol talking. It might be the alcohol talking. Let's go.
Welcome to Another Shot Podcast, where our opinions might be real, or it could just be the liquor talking. Sit back and enjoy another shot.
Yo, what's going on, guys? And you thought we weren't going to be on, but you know what? We need to get back into the whole rhythm of keeping things on schedule, keeping up with you guys keeping up with us. So, hell no was I going to miss another Thirsty Thursday Thoughts and Shots. Got the music going in the background, and you guys caught me right in the middle of, I kind of forgot last night to do the whole ice thing. And of course, I come out here and I got one giant, glacier of ice. It's just gonna be one of those nights, guys. I mean, it's a nice little comfy day. I did not disappoint myself nor anybody else when I say I didn't exactly accomplish everything that I was setting out to do today. But hey, I mean, you can win some, you can lose some. The fact is, one of the reasons I did come on late tonight was because I was in the process of trying to get get caught back up with our Spotify, and so a lot of stuff has been updated. If you guys are following us on Spotify, we got some new episodes. Trust me, a lot of awesome content. What I love about Spotify is the fact that, you can go back, if you missed a show or, what's a good way to put it? Somebody says, hey, dude, you actually said this on there. It gives me an opportunity and you an opportunity to go back and say, hey, look, it's right here. So there can never really be any argument on what is said. But before we truly get started tonight, guys, let's go ahead and do a couple quick shout outs. One, to our good friends over there at MLH Distillery, located right here in Grove City, Pennsylvania. Yes, one of the official sponsors of Another Shot Podcast. The hours of operation, guys, are Fridays, 5 p.m. to 11 p.m., Saturdays, 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. All these awesome bottles you see on your screen and you see me pouring at the bar, you can purchase right there at MLH Distillery, and as well as on MLHdistillery.com, and you can find them on Facebook, guys. That's MLH Distillery, again, located right here in Grove City, Pennsylvania. Another quick shout out to our good friends at Snap-on Tools, the premier selection in automotive tools. So there is one thing, I'm gonna have to step off here for a second, but you guys will still hear me talking. I'm sure you all hear me, the music's just absolutely blaring. for 1 second. But I'm pretty sure that Miss Cat is getting a big kick out of the fact that I keep forgetting to do one particular thing, and this is why my producer is amazing at getting everything pre-made the night before. It happens to the best of us, but I'm just going to update this real fast. And hopefully we can get some awesome conversation. Last night was fun. You guys, I tell you what, are really coming on strong anymore. Sorry, I guess I'm one of the ones that can't type and talk at the same time. I was right in the world again. You know, it was just one of those days where, you know, I'm telling you all right now, you know, I've let you guys know multiple times, you know, I'm married with 2 kids. And, you know, my world changed when my son was born. But I tell you what, your whole universe is completely altered when you have a daughter. Now, everybody has a different way of, you know, we all have our own style of parenting. And I will say this much as we have tried over and over and over again to you know, raise each the same way, treat each the same way, that went out the window for me pretty damn quick. And, you know, it's even more so now that they've gotten older. Now, I keep telling everybody we can't beat the clock. I swear, all I did was blink, and now my son is going into his sophomore year of college, and my daughter is going into the 7th grade. Dude, where is the time going? But even with her snippy little attitude, yes, she's got that preteen going on. She turns 13 this year. I swear, I could be just seeing red, fuming mad, and that little girl, she can 100% just flip my switch. I'll go from pissed to just absolutely in love. And it almost, I don't know why today, but I asked her whenever she came home from practice today, you know, was she going to be going and hanging out with her friends? And she said no. She told her friends that she will not be hanging out with anybody on Thursdays anymore because that's my day off, and she is going to spend time with Daddy. You know, I've never claimed to be a tough guy. I mean, I stand my ground. Do I have a nasty temper? I do. And it's something I've been working on for 40 plus years. But just those few words right there 100% melted me. And I mean, it's just the rest of the day. I mean, everything else I was telling you last night, I had every intention of sitting down and, you know, I was going to work on stuff for the show. I was going to help my wife get some stuff put away. Of course, Miss Sam, you know, we kept with her appointment, and things are going back to normal there. But all it took was those couple sentences from her, and I resigned myself. You know what? I'm going to make us brunch right now. We sat down and cooked together. It was just amazing. And we sat down and watched scary movies all day. And just literally didn't do anything but just sit in the living room and spend time together. just chilled. Nothing, nothing crazy, nothing off the wall. Just father-daughter time. The only thing I kind of regret, but it was raining today, I could have took a little bit more advantage, and her and I could have actually went and, who knows, we could have went to the animal park again one more time before the summer ends, before she goes back to school. Something, anything. But no, we were perfectly content just sitting there, and, I'm a stickler when I'm watching movies. I cannot stand when people are talking and jabbering on, but I fed right into it this time. Her and I both went just back and forth, commenting on this and commenting on that, and you can't win them all when it comes to some of these movies. I picked the paranormal. I thought, we'll watch the Blair Witch 2, the Book of Shadows, and I thought this is gonna be cool. She'll love it. She loves the paranormal stuff, it has to do with witchcraft and all that, but she buried her face in her phone. And I'm just kind of like, what, do you not like this? She said, not really. And told me flat out it was boring. And I'm thinking, good Lord, I went and seen this in the movies. I turned around and bought it on VHS, and I turned around and made sure I had it on DVD. And, I'm just like, what, how? And that's where that little snippy preteen kind of came out a little bit. And all I could do was grin. I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty tough on Connor growing up. And the main reason was, even though I still was making mistakes, I did not want him to make the same mistakes that I did. So I stayed on him a lot more, but I always tried to make sure I rewarded him and spent time with him, and, father-son's trips to the beach. Every winter, him and I would go out there, and, we were in the field, or we were in the blind, we were both hunting. Movies, I took him to Evans City. He absolutely fell in love with going to see the Living Dead weekend in Evans City, where the movie was filmed. Got to meet the original Barbara and Johnny, and he was just on cloud nine. It was little stuff like that. And we still are, when him and I do the father-son thing, we're still cheesy about things. And, we'll do the little selfie together, and there's still that little boy in him that, he still loves Dad, but I think what's really kind of been sitting hard lately is the fact that, all last year, when he was at school, if we were lucky, we saw him on the weekends. He would come home and, if he wasn't working or running with friends, we'd see him for a little bit, or we'd sit down and watch a movie or something along those lines. We didn't really get to go hunting together. He's running off with his friends and going hunting. Him and I could still sit down and watch a Steeler game. We could still sit down and watch, UFC or whatever. But it's really kind of setting in, and I kind of feel, what's a good way to say this? I don't know how to word this one properly, but it's a hard thought knowing that I may have another 3 years before he's really going to be, actually, I'm just going to say about 2.5 more years. And I'm just hoping that we don't become those parents. Is this going to be the weekend our son comes home? Is he going to come visit? It's, you see it in the movies all the time. These, the parents where the son doesn't come home and the parents are just completely downtrodden. It's just, it's kind of a depressing thought. So I'm constantly trying to find ways to still, keep up with, it's, I don't know. There's a part of me that is just wanting to keep just pushing and pushing and pushing to make sure that we're still in his life. And I did notice that, like, the older he's gotten, he's starting to lean more towards mom now. And I start to question, was I too hard on him? Was I too, where did I mess up that? But then I'm thinking, maybe it's just in my head. Okay, so he keeps up with mom a little bit more now. He didn't have mother-son trips. He had father-son trips. He didn't go hunting with mom. He went hunting with dad. We would do some family stuff together, but most of the time he was, he was a daddy's boy for a while. And I guess the best way to put it is you don't realize what you have until it's gone. And I'm watching, that time, that little boy. I used to call him Little Man. And that nickname went out the window, I don't know, quite a while ago now. It's just, I don't know, like I said, it's a hard pill to swallow. So when I have these times with, and my daughter saying that, it kind of, maybe it's just part of me remembering all those times with Connor and having a good time and, doing the daddy-son things. It's kind of a sobering situation to where you need to truly enjoy guys, we only have a little bit of time with the kids. Now, this isn't one of those, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, tonight could be the last. No, we're not doing that. I'm still the glasses half full guy. There's always tomorrow. Now, let's flip script a little bit. Honestly, I sit back and I start to think, okay, so am I going to miss the kids? Yes, but what about that much needed, reconnection with the wife? We don't have to worry about the kids anymore. Now they're doing their thing, and hell, by the time Kaylin graduates, Connor will be graduating, and then she'll be getting ready to go off to college, and I just kind of what are we going to do with our time now? Is that going to be that empty nest syndrome? I know for a fact that she will have that, my wife. Then come those decisions like, okay, do we stay in the house? Do we find something different now that it's just the two of us? It's amazing. I was trying to figure out what the hell I was going to talk about tonight because Thursdays are hit and miss. Some people are on, some people aren't. Some nights we're absolutely slammed on here. Other Thursdays we're not. Maybe you guys were expecting it to be all football tonight, and this is not my thing. Well, my football compadres are nowhere to be found. I mean, this is a very weird year. So, it was just in like the 5-10 minutes it was taking me to get everything turned on and set up and get started. It's like, okay, you know what? This is kind of what's on my mind right now. Again, I'm just kind of shooting the shit and pissing into the wind, really, because I could use some back and forth, guys. Part of what's going on with that is, you guys watched Sunday and Monday, I had the missus out here. And I was trying to tell her that, I do my best work when I have somebody I can kind of go back and forth with. And, for a little while, it looked like things were going to be going good. But, Wednesday night rolled around, not interested tonight. Okay. Here it is Thursday night, and I thought, well, maybe I'll be able to talk her into it. The bar stool was empty, folks. You know, even as much as me and Miss Kitty Cat bicker and go, you know, I'm getting to the point where I'm kind of missing on her too. And I don't know, it's just, you know, sometimes it's lonely in here. It really is. You know, I thought about this we'll call him the future special guest when he came in and was checking things out the other day, and you know, I was trying to explain to him some of the stuff that was going on, and it's just kind of like, man, maybe, you know, brother, I have watched Sleepaway Camp so many times. I mean, I could word for word all 4 movies. And therein lies the other thing. You know, you bring that up. Yes, I have her contact information, and it looks like I might have, we're going to give it a little bit of time before I start putting out these messages, but it looks like we might have the internet situation under control. Possibly. I'm not putting the cart before the horse on this one, but, you know, I absolutely love the Sleepaway Camp movies. And one of the reasons I picked the Blair Witch was, she's more into paranormal stuff than she is slashers. Oh man, dude, you and I, for the first time in a long time, my friend, are seeing eye to eye. Sleepaway Camp 2 was probably the best. I have to agree. What was neat about that series was, so there's 4 of them. Part 1, you know, had one of the best twists. You didn't see it coming. Number 2, you know, and of course, Angela was played by Felissa Rose. The second and third one both had Pamela Springsteen take over the Angela role, and it went from a whodunit to a slasher flick that quick. And then, of course, Miss Rose reprised the role of Angela again in the 4th one. Which, Bobby, if you haven't seen the 4th one, man, you could tell they were stretching. They were hoping that lightning was going to strike, because that actually, it was an underground, it's got a cult following. And for as much as my wife hates slasher movies, she's not a scary movie fan at all. The Sleepaway Camps are ones that she will sit down and watch those ones. She's somewhat amused by them. She gets a kick out of it. Try to get Pamela Springsteen on here. I'd love to. She's actually retired from acting now. And she's either an artist or a photographer, one of the two. She's in one of those 2 arts. And, dude, I would love it to sit down and pick her brain about that. And, you know, honestly, that would be another feather in the cap all day. I just watched a movie. And guys, by the way, welcome to another shot. You know, we go from one conversation to another. I just watched a movie called The Jester. And it's on the Roku channel. And Kaylin sat down, she watched it, she liked it. Sarah even was kind of, you could see she was showing signs of interest in it. And I was kind of taking a cue from our boys at Talking Shit. When I had Victoria DeMar on here, I was able to message her on Instagram. And of course, she replied back a couple times. And then when we got the podcast going, I thought, let's see. And she jumped on it. She's like, oh, hell yeah, I'd love to. I'm like, yes, you know, and like I fanboyed it instantly. And, you know, for those of you that have got to go back and either watch that one or listen to that one, what a train wreck. still love the Killjoy movies. I love her as Batty Boop. I honestly think that she's like one role away from. She could get out there. I still believe in the fact that the woman can act. I love the stuff that she did. But you really don't see a whole lot from her, and hell, I haven't even seen a lot of her stuff on Instagram. So I don't know. But since we'll flip the script on it again. You know, fall's kicking in, guys. We got Friday Night Lights. If I'm not mistaken, I think I was told today that Slippery Rock's first game is tomorrow or it's Saturday, one of the two. I gotta, Bobby, if you're still on here, brother, I mean, when is our home game? You know, that's, not only do I like doing this, I mean, I have those small pleasures. I still like going to high school football games. My son played for them for 2 years before he dropped. He was on the midget league for the longest time. Football was a big part of his life for a little bit. So there's still a part of me that wants to go, you know, hey, how's our boys going to do? On top of the fact, guys, I'm cheesy like this. I like going out and you know, it's getting a little chilly tonight. You know, I got the hoodie on, so let's get, you know, walking around my hot chocolate or my coffee, you know, hot dogs and, you know, whatever specialty. Some people have the pulled pork nachos. Dude, I chomp those like crazy, but, you know, I was trying to think, you know, I thought tonight was the other Steeler game, the second Steeler game, and I was just kind of, oh, shit, you know. And then I saw that it was tomorrow night, and I'm like, oh, cool, my night off. 28th is GC's first home game. Okay, so when is the Slippery Rock game? Because that's, I know they're here this year, which, oh boy, 9 mile drive, right? You know, another thing is, I know my wife likes going to the basketball games. Hell, my daughter's probably going to be playing basketball this year, and she's already resigned herself. She's going to play for the school, and I love that. So, you know, she's put a lot of time and the effort in the past couple years to, you know, learn basketball and play. She's doing cross country now. You know school's kicking in. And, you know, right when I start having those, oh, they're not going to be around, then it's like, wait a minute, don't focus, you know, this is how quick it changes. Don't focus on the negative, enjoy the now. You know, I'm still, you know, thumping my kid for not getting, you know, hey, Dad, here, I got you tickets, let's go watch, you know, SRU's baseball game, or here, you know, Indiana's in town, let's go, or, you know, let's go see. October 16th, home versus Slippery Rock. Holy crap, it's a whole month yet. But at least then, you know, the cooler nights are going to be out. Okay, cool. I'm going to have to look up the schedule and everything. And but, you know, this is also the time of year where, you know, Kaylin's already brought it up. You know, going to the haunted houses, the Cheeseman's Fright Farm. My buddy Hooper just found another one that, you know, it's in Connellsville. It's about an hour and a half drive, 2 hour drive to get there, but, you know, if it's worth it, why not, you know? I'm more of a fall, you know, winter person, you know, and that's the nice thing about having my 4 seasons back, you know. Summertime, I'm starting to become that guy that's not the biggest fan of summer. Do I like sitting out on the porch and a nice warm evening, cold beer in hand, you know, getting out walking around, doing all this fun stuff that, you know, you do during the summer. Not much of a swimmer anymore. I used to love to go swimming, but I don't know. I don't get in the water all that often. You put me on the beach, I'm in the water all the time, but I'm beating that dead horse again. I think the big thing for me is in fall, in winter, you know, when you're cold, you can always put more clothes on. You know, and if you get too hot, you can take it back off. You can regulate your temperature easier in the fall and the winter time. Plus, the food gets better, the drinks get better. I'm a geek, guys. I've got my guilty pleasures too. You know, I love watching the leaves change. And, you know, I also look forward to, oh man, I don't have to mow. But then I know I'm like, oh shit, you know, I'm going to have to rake the yard here a bunch of times. And summer is best. Why is summer best for you, Bobby? You know, you're hot, you're sweaty. Of course, I don't work out in the elements anymore, but I'm still somewhat outside. So trust me, when you're in that garage, that tire bay, yeah, you're sweating yourself like crazy. You know, it'd be one thing if I could actually enjoy it, you know. But, you know, my work schedule, Sarah's work schedule, and usually in the summertime, the kids are running all over the place. You like the heat. Aha. So do I, but in moderation. Have I used the smoker yet? Yes, sir, we have. And I'll tell you what, let me finish up this drink and I will make one of my favorites and show you how much fun this thing is actually. I like it because it doesn't push out a whole bunch of smoke. You get this nice little, you know, top layer. We were messing around with it the other night. And yeah, we loved it. We were messing around with it Monday night. Was it Monday? Yeah, it was Monday before everybody left. Mash Brothers, what's going on, guys? Everybody's popping in now. Can't stay just curious. Yeah, brother, and I want to say thank you again. I mean, this thing, I love it. You know, it's simple. I'll tell you what, if you can give me just 2 seconds, we'll do it one and done. I'm not even going to make a specialty drink. We'll just go ahead. Let's go ahead and top myself off a little bit. And I think, let's see what I have left in here. Let's pack that down a little bit. There's just enough left in there. Hooper was so excited about it, he went out and got a torch. Let it die down a little bit and then just go like that. We give it about 20 seconds, let it do its thing. Now see, the fun part is, I've never used one before. I've seen them used, but I've never used one, so we're still learning. Like, you know, we got to watch because some of this stuff will float in the air and everything, and you know, it's a process. All right. And then just like that, let me put this somewhere. Make sure it's not too hot. There we go. Cheers, brother. And I think this one we were using, we all decided to go ahead and do it. That was the oak. You have another just like it? Dude, they're awesome. And I tell you what, hey Bobby, next time you're in, dude, I'm going to show you this thing. Pour you a simple sit down and 2-finger it. Oh, dude, awesome. So yes, Uncle Moonshine, I appreciate it, Mark. Awesome, dude. I'm looking for some way to... Hey, you have a good night, brother. Yeah, trust me, don't I know. 3 a.m. comes early. You know, even though I'm closing every day, so I don't have to go in till 9, I'm literally working 9 to 5. Well, 9 to 5:30 because of lunch, but you know, I don't mess with my alarm at all. because I don't want to mess up in some way, shape, or form and forget to turn it back on when I do have to open or whatever. So I just leave it run. 6 a.m. That bad boy is going off, and then begins the snooze button, snooze button, snooze button, snooze button. But I'm starting to, I get 2 different kisses in the morning. The missus, she gives me a kiss and I love you before she leaves, and then little girl comes in, gives me a hug and a kiss before she goes to practice. I'm slowly starting to get up in the mornings a little easier. It's like, something I look forward to, and then get my coffee going. Why did Kat quit the show? She did not. Kat is actually working a split shift right now because they don't have enough people to cover. So she'll go in and work 4 hours in the morning, and then she'll go home and she'll go back in for 4 hours in the evening. She was supposed to be on Wednesday, and the person they were training apparently decided it wasn't for him. So he just up and quit, which immediately put her back on the split shift. At least this is what I got from, Cat and Blue. So, I mean, dude, those people out there that have dailies, I mean, we got to do what we got to do sometimes, I guess. But like I said, it's been lighting a fire under my ass a lot more to go out and start making this show as big as possible. Start, not gonna lie, guys, I want to get paid, and if I could do this full time, I've said that just about every night I'm on here. I would love to do this full time. Set the schedule, be able to travel more, and that's why I got a pretty decent team that's been backing me and me out. So we've had people step up and pitching me ideas on different shows, and I mean, we got multiple people going out and buying more and more stuff for the studio. Stuff I need to get up off my ass and start hanging to actually start soundproofing it more. I mean, we have it in the plans to, tear down the garage door and actually wall this place in, start helping it to hold the heat better. And then, next step will be getting a quieter heating and air unit and not have all this, crazy stuff all over the place. So, yeah, she didn't quit. She just, between family, daily, and doing this, just sometimes it don't jive. But that being said, I mean, we're still going to hold down the fort. We're still going to have a good time, and I still make sure to keep her presence known, her memory alive. It is what it is, and I mean, it's like Shannon. We had her for a hot second, then she started coming back in, and it's just, I think people don't realize how much work actually goes into this. I mean, it takes a lot of effort, a lot of imagination, a lot of time. And I mean, I figure now that we are officially in our 3rd year, well, let me rephrase that. We're in our 3rd year. One of them we don't fully count, 2, we really started to buckle down, and I tell you what, just in the last year, it started to explode. We're getting more and more people. It's just got to keep everybody interested, and I'm trying to make it a point to constantly get on. I've been getting on the gram more and checking out Facebook more and getting on X and trying to keep up with people, and especially TikTok. Honestly, a lot of the people that have been on here because of TikTok. And it's just, we've been crossing over, and it's actually been meshing up really well. And I love the people that we've been meeting. As I've said multiple times, I love meeting new people. I'm a people person. I like making new friends. And we've had people from all over the globe. I mean, they come in from Scotland, they come in from England. Hell, we see Katie in here quite often. We have Dan from Canada. Yes, Bobby, you know good old Dan. You know, we've met other musicians, you know, we've met actors and actresses, and, you know, we've caught the attention of other podcasts, and now we're kind of, you know, what can I say? Next step is just, you know, starting to read, you know, one of the things I would love to do is start reaching out to the community more. You know, start getting involved in like fundraisers and, you know, causes and, you know, okay, not so much causes, but fundraisers. Like one of the things I've been chomping at the bit to do is the Ice Bucket Challenge. I just brought him up, buddy. He's in Canada and he hasn't been on in a while because I tell you what, he's been working on his book. He's been working on a series. He's doing other little side stories with characters that are in his book. He's really, instead of bouncing all over the place like he was, he is focusing a lot more on other authors and, you know, building his brand a little bit more. So, I mean, it wouldn't be hard. I'm sure if I messaged him and be like, hey, dude, how about you come on? It's been a hot second. You know, we'll send him the link and whatnot and have good old Dan pop back in here. It's been quite a while. You know, he's a super nice guy. He really is. And, you know, he's been going through some little blips of his own, and you know, we still keep in touch. I just actually, I think we were getting ready to leave, last Sunday. I was getting ready to go out to dinner, and I saw him live, and I thought, you know what, why the hell not? So I jumped on real quick, and sure enough, you know, he immediately like, oh shit, Bill's on, hey, come in. So I, you know, stopped in for about, you know, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, said hello to everybody, and yeah, some of the people that was on his live ended up jumping on my live later on, and you know, that's how it works. I mean, I used to be a big player in the TikTok world. I was constantly getting in people's on their lives, and you know, I was building a rapport with people. Like I was actually getting, I had a schedule. I knew when people were coming on and what they were doing and so on and so forth. It was a good time. And once I took, you know, I got back in the workforce, it was kind of hard to do. Not that I wouldn't, like on my lunch break, you know, pop in real quick and be like, hey, you know, I'm on lunch, so I wanted to say hello. But what's fun about this whole thing is there's still, and my wife is one of them, there's still people that's kind of like, it's social media. You know, are you really, you know, And what people don't realize is, I mean, this is like, I can't say it's like the future, but this is, I mean, a big part of today's society. And this is how people meet and stay in touch and contact. And, you know, it's actually an awesome tool if used properly. Now, you got these idiots out here that want to, you know, oh, big fight broke out, or, you know, car wreck, or, you know, somebody's house is on fire, and the first thing they want to do, or, you know, somebody's being an asshole. What's the first thing everybody does? They pull out their damn phone, they're recording. You know, you know, I can understand, like, you know, okay, this is an awesome wrestling match, so I'm going to go ahead and stream this. This is, you know, my friend's in a band, so I'm going to go out there and I'm going to record him, you know, doing, you know, oh, look at all everybody being funny together, you know, or, you know, stuff like that. Because one thing I constantly try to push is the positivity. And this is why we don't talk about politics on here. We don't talk about religion. honestly, at this point, I'm just 100% burnt out on all this shit. That's all anybody ever wants to talk about anymore is politics or religion or, you know, and that's just not me. You know, I've got my own thoughts. You know, you want a thought right now? Here's my only thing I'm going to touch on. Doesn't matter which side of the coin you're on. Neither side really cares about the people. You know, both sides, all they want to do is beat their fucking chest. And, you know, I tell you what, all I got to say is the most honest 5 minutes on television. It's from a show, Newsroom. Jeff Daniels got up there. He was asked a question, what makes America the greatest country in the world? And I tell you what, and you can go ahead, I know a lot of you people are going to want to Google and fact check and all this other bullshit. You know, a lot of what he said made sense. So I just don't get into it. I don't care to. You know, it drives me nuts. You know, I've got, you know, if you're at like the doctor's office or, you know, hell, even in our waiting room, you know, I hate when people turn on the news. It's like, why, what do I care? I don't. You know what I care about? My own house, my own personal life, you know, and what can I do to help a brother, help, you know, a sister, help my friends, you know, because honestly, positivity, it's infectious. You know, who hasn't been sitting there and be all quiet and somebody cracks a joke, or let's be immature and childish. Somebody lets one rip. Everybody just starts laughing. A couple people are like, oh God, you know, and then next thing you know, everybody, and it just kind of triggers everybody wanting to start cracking jokes, whether it be cracking jokes to the person that did it, or let's say, you know, one person does make a joke, and then next thing you know, it inspires somebody else to say a joke, and you know, it moves. And I think people need to remember that. All it takes is that one joke, that one laugh. And that's always what I try to do on here. I love making people laugh. I love, you know, hell, I love when you've seen us on here during like Monday Night Bartender, you know, when Shannon's in here, or, you know, I'll even be you know, I'll rip on Kat. Hell, Bobby all the time. Him and I are just like shooting jabs at each other. But it's, you know, it's never malicious. It's annoying there, Hero Shark, at times, but, you know, you take it with stride because, you know, it's not that I'm never annoying, you know, but I like surrounding myself with people that have a good sense of humor, that have a positive outlook on everything, that likes to, you know, you guys have seen Chris on here. Well, Chris is one of those people, a lot of times he wants to just hate on everything. It takes the, you know, it could be something that doesn't even have anything to do with him. He'll see somebody do something to a vehicle and be like, why would you do, you know? But then you also see him in here around us and we're laughing, we're joking. Even at work, I'll take his mannerisms when he's in one of his bad moods and I'll flip it on him. You know, I'll see him, you know, when he gets pissed off, I know he's not here and he's probably gonna hate me for this, but one of his favorite things to do, when he gets pissed off, he'll start swinging that arm as he's walking, and it reminds us all of the bushwhackers back in the day. So honestly, whenever he does that, you know, I'll be like, oh, you really wanna? And, you know, back in the early days of me working there, he'd have flipped his shit and then him and I would have been in a fight. But now that we've gotten to know each other, I know tells with him, he knows my tells, and I'll sit back and, you know, I'll crack a joke and he'll be in a pissed off mood, still be pissed off, but I'll make him laugh. So that's our thing, you know? There's times we love to hate on each other. The poor bastard, he left his phone, he was using his phone as a flashlight and left it in a car the other day. And I tell you what, he was on the verge of crying. And guys, this is why I won't attach my information to my phone. But he was sitting there going into, I hate to say this, Chris, I love you, buddy, but drama king mode. And he's, at one point, he's standing right behind me. I could actually feel him breathing on my shoulder. And I turned around and I looked at him, just kind of, he immediately took it as I was laughing at the situation, which triggered him. And I immediately fired back. I'm like, dude, you need to calm the F down. You're acting up in front of people. You're going to get it back. We know who has it. There are people that come in here on a regular basis. They're super nice. We're going to get it back. The call's been made. And he wanted to go again. And that's when others kind of jumped in. It's like, dude, you need to stop. So he took the cue, walked off. And then, he bumped into me again a little bit later on. He still hadn't got his phone back. And he ended up, everything's a damn joke, isn't it? Everything. I'm like, yeah, you know what the joke is? The way you're acting at 40 years old. For those of you that know me, that's kind of the pot calling the kettle black a little bit, because I've been known to flip my shit too, but I try not to do it in public anymore. I save most of my blow-ups for inside either these four walls or the four walls that are 30 feet from this studio. The privacy of your own home. Well, the good news is he ended up getting his phone back. Everything was good. I mean, and you could see that sigh of relief, like he was, and that's when he let me know he thought I was laughing about the situation. I'm like, no, I wasn't laughing about the situation. That situation sucked. And I felt for you. It was the way you were acting. Almost like you were screaming for attention. You don't need that. And especially at that point in time. So we fist bumped, and then the rest of the day, it was just us kind of, jibbing back and forth on each other, and it was business as usual. So much so that I got a message on my phone today. He was showing me where he wanted to kind of mess around with my warehouse a little bit, because he knows one of my pet peeves is when you pull a tire, put it back where you got it. Don't just throw it back up in there. That's how stuff get mixed up. Well, again, he knows my little trigger points. So I got a message earlier today, and it was a video, and he goes, what can I do in this warehouse? What's going to piss Bill off? What if I take this tire right here and I put it over here? And I'm like, So even that wasn't going to let me stray away from the fact that I was getting to spend a daddy-daughter day. Loved it. Hell, the plan is, she starts school next week. Guess what? Or is it next week or the following week? It's one of the two. Time to do the school shopping. So yeah, that's just, again, guys, I gave you a lot of thoughts, a lot of shots tonight. I apologize for going on late, but I wanted to make sure that I got some extra stuff out there, because I actually just found out that yes, we do have more and more people coming on, but we've also lost a lot of people on Spotify. So I need to start pushing the Spotify more. One of the big reasons I wanted to get on Spotify is because my sister used to love the show. She used to be a regular on here. She'd come on, she'd turn the camera off, but you could hear her and everything, and she would, while she was driving, that was her way to kind of break the monotony. She'd join us in some conversation. And we were getting a lot of people that was liking it for a little while, and then things just kind of went off the wayside. And no finger pointing, but I can tell you firsthand, there was a pretty sizable reason why those guys quit. Well, that difference is gone now. Let's just go that way. So I'd be interested in knowing what you guys think of the show. Do you guys listen to it on Spotify at all? I know my coworker's soon-to-be wife does. I know GB's got some people that love to get on there and listen to our Spotify. Apparently they listen to it on their way to work every morning, which I think is awesome. I love hearing that. And it drives me want to make sure I keep people up to date on what we got going on. So speaking of, if I'm not mistaken, I do believe I'm gonna have to look. I hope I didn't miss this, but our good friend Michael Copenhaver is actually, yeah, that was last weekend. Whoops. I'm gonna owe him one for that one. Shit. And again, I don't have somebody keeping up with the calendar in there, and I can't even say that because I'm notorious for not putting stuff on the calendar myself. I have so much stuff going on as of late. It's just trying to keep up with what's going on, when, where, why, how, who. It's just I can't. Every time you think you got a pretty sizable, solid team behind you, it's like, man, we could actually use a little bit more here, a little bit more there, somebody doing this, I'm telling you. I thought this was just going to be something as simple as get out there and, like I said, the dark days, it was just supposed to be me and another companion. We were going to sit here and drink as much as possible, and just whatever comes out, comes out. Man, how things have changed. It's just, it's crazy, isn't it? So I guess on that note, guys, let's get ready to go ahead and wrap this one up, because I still plan on doing another hour on the other show, and that's at a minimum. Trying to keep that ball rolling, keep the interest going, guys. A lot of you have been sending me recipes, and I want to thank each and every one of you, and I've been trying my best to make sure that I feature those recipes, whether it be on here or on the other one. So it's a work in progress, and like I said, there's been a lot of connections made. People interested in wanting to come out here and show their product. I can't wait to the day when I can sit on that side of the bar and let somebody else bartend for a change. So, before we wrap this one up, guys, a couple quick shout outs real quick to the official sponsor of Another Shot podcast. That is MLH Distillery, located right here in Grove City, Pennsylvania. Guys, all these awesome bottles, look at that. And you see them on your screen, you see me pouring them here. You can purchase right there at MLH Distillery, or you can get them at mlhdistillery.com. Guys, yes, they are on Facebook as well. They are a full service, full restaurant. They got an awesome menu, awesome drink menu, guys. You name it, they've got it. Another quick shout out to our friends at Snap-on Tools, the premier selection in automotive tools. Hey, Bobby, I want to thank you. Thanks for coming in, brother, and, throwing some stuff out there. I guess maybe I was getting a little bit too much on the lower end of the spectrum. You need to, perk things back up. And I appreciate you. I really do, my friend. Uncle Moonshine, Mash Brothers, everybody, thanks for coming in. Apparently there's been a bunch of you in here that I didn't even notice. So this, my little eye in the sky up here needs to update somehow and let me know. But unfortunately, guys, all good things must come to an end, and as always, last shot of the night. Folks, there are good ships, there are wood ships, there are ships that sail the sea, but the best ships are friendships. And may they always be. Guys, for those of you on TikTok, that's where we're heading next. Always remember, though, everything we say on this show is just our opinion. But then again, it could be the alcohol talking. One thing I wanted to do, I kept forgetting. Guys, we do have t-shirts, all sizes. They are unisex. 25 for one. 45 for two. If you like repping the show, you like what you see, Check us out, our boy KD in the house, and of course, the Cluck and Truck. Those guys were awesome as well. So thank you guys for the pictures. Jesus, God, Blue, what? You that far behind? I got it covered. Man. Mash Brothers, thanks for popping in, man. Hey, feel free to throw in some more combo, my friend. We can talk about booze if you want. Always a good time. Again, for those of you on TikTok, looking forward to seeing you again real soon, guys. Cheers.
Thank you for stopping in and listening to the Another Shot podcast. We shared some drinks, stories, and laughs. But it's time to say goodnight. Join us next time on Another Shot podcast.
If you're looking for a party, then man, have you found it? Now the shot is coming raw and unbounded. The whiskey's always talking and the beer's overflowing. Now the shot is gonna hit you with the mind overloading. The bar is always open with no inhibitions. Another shot will leave your sensories twitching. Just remember, everything we say is just